Director, it is very important for us to actually acknowledge and set the context before thanking you of why and what are we trying to do here. It is very important for all of us to understand that security is very important. There's a direct link between security and development. You will not be able to develop your country if your country is not secure. No one will come to your country where they are not safe. The same way you are scared of going to certain streets in certain places is exactly the same way anybody who wants to do business or visit your country. So we do value as leaders, as councillors, as part of the city of Windhoek, we do indeed value the importance of security. So men and women in uniform, both retired and in active service, we want to firstly send a message clearly that we value your contribution, and there is that link. Take, for example, a country such as Rwanda, coming from a devastating situation, but now Rwanda is beating most of the countries, including ours. What is it that Rwanda did beautifully? Security was defined as important and central to the country's and the nation's development. South Africa at one point was the largest economy in the African continent. They went in a relaxation mode, crime went up, and nobody was secure anymore. People started moving out. It is no longer the largest economy. So you play a very important role. The same way people praise entrepreneurs and everybody else, you play a very important role. We cannot achieve any economic development agenda without you men and women in uniform. The only reason why America remained the second largest economy in the world, it is because of its strongest security forces that at times is even able to manipulate the economic condition in favor of American companies, including starting war. So when there is war, they are supplying the weapons to Hezbollah, they are supplying the weapons to Israel. So it's very important, and never for a moment, when you don't see us, and I mean all of us, regardless of where our background are from, whenever you see us just talking about development and growth and many other things, don't for a moment think that we don't value you and your contribution that you make. What we understand as colonialism, it means sometimes we just talk about these things when we don't define it. Colonialism means the occupation, control, and domination of a sovereign space by a foreign other. What is colonialism? The occupation, control, and domination of a sovereign space by a foreign other. So in other words, this foreign other come in and occupy firstly. But it doesn't end at occupation. It proceeds to control. And when it proceeds to control, it then proceeds to domination. That is why the colonial other can come and name a building, divert, because they want to dominate the space. Where the street there called Bismarck. Who was Bismarck? In December 1884, he called all other Europeans because the travelers and missionaries have seen some continent called Africa, where people are apparently not sophisticated. So he called all of them to a party. That party was called the Berlin Conference, starting in December and proceeded until February. About 2 months, people just discussing what are they going to do with that territory. So Bismarck was that guy who organized that meeting. He was the Chancellor of Germany. But we had a street for him here. The only explanation is that you occupy, you control, and you dominate. You even start dominating the spaces. So what we're intending to do with all these activities, not just Chief Kanime that you see. We are trying to make sure that we live in a proper society. Jonke Afrikaners and our people were already in Windhoek before the Germans came. In fact, the Germans only started coming, although they took over the territory from 1884 formally, they only started coming to Namibia from the late 1800s, from 1890s onward. They wanted to have these companies that are coming in here. But before they even came, Jonke Afrikaner and others were already here. But because of occupation, control, and domination, they put up a big statue there of the so-called founder of Windhoek. That's what you do when you want to control and dominate. You show to the natives, you show to everyone that I'm the founder. We don't care what Jonke Afrikaners and everybody else says. I'm the founder. And therefore, that's what's going to happen. It is no longer the case. We no longer have Bismarck Street. Bismarck Street was renamed after Simeon Chihungileni. Simeon Chihungileni was the second commander of Ngulumbashe battle. And we didn't treat him very well. It would have been nice to rename the street in his honor when he was still alive, but it's never too late, isn't it? Yeah? Bismarck Street no longer exists. Court Francois no longer exists. In that process of controlling, of occupying, controlling, and dominating our space, they also start a process of misspelling and mispronouncing our spaces. We have a place now, even the government called it a Tosha National Park. There is no such a thing in our languages. The actual name is a Totha. It means you go to an area, an open area, you identify Totothamo. But the white man could not understand a Totha, so they just changed it to a Totha. A Totha is also found in a place what is called Namutoni now. But there's no such a thing in any language called Namutoni. The place is called Amtuni Womanenge, Amtuni Ontuni. They couldn't understand that, they just called it Namutoni. It is the same thing that we had with Luderitz. Luderitz didn't even come in Namibia. He sent somebody to represent him and negotiate deals for him to get land there at Angora Begwena, present day. But because he's apparently the founder of Luderitz, where he had sent people to go and negotiate, the place was called Luderitz. We did a good thing. We renamed the constituency. We don't understand why you renamed the constituency to Ngaminus and not the town itself. So it's very important for us to correct some of these things that has been happening. If you take it more closer, in this window, you may not know that there is a street called Sin Street. Sin. Among the black areas, a Sin Street. I was also informed that there was also a Lucifer Street. So we have children that are living in Lucifer Street. So when you are attending as officers, where are you attending? No, I'm going to Lucifer Street. You imagine a situation like that. But these things are deliberate. What is Donkerhoek? We say Donkerhoek, Donkerhoek. What is Donkerhoek? Why is it a dark corner? There is no electricity. But in Donkerhoek now, if you go, there is no electricity. But it's still Donkerhoek, even with electricity. That's what happens when you occupy, you control and dominate. You also dominate the imagination. This Donkerhoek thing we have appropriated, we have accepted. Ekes van Donkerhoek. We are from the dark corner. It is the same thing with Gemiente. My Afrikaans is Biki Swak. But what is Gemiente? How do we understand Gemiente? Mix. You just take random people, you mix them there. I'm from Gemiente. 34 years after independence, Gemiente. Shandubala. What is Shandubala? Shandubala means clustered things there. Gemiente, the same. But who was giving all these names? Is it our people? Is it ourselves? Why does it continue? But what is happening on the other side? Olympia. What does Olympia mean? When you go to Olympia, the streets there, the streets are named after champions in various Olympic codes. People who have won gold medal from different places, those are the streets that are there. But there's also another place called Academia. What do we have in Academia? Plato Street, Aristotle. Even when the children are growing up, your child is living in Lucifer Street. But the other child is living in Plato Street, the greatest thinker in politics. So the academics, the intellectual lived in Academia. The place was named after their character. They knew what they needed to do. But if you are an engineer, you are starting your business, you are starting something, you are pioneering something, you lived in a place called what? Pioneers Park. But if you are a government official, you are a politician, you lived in Ludwigsdorp. What is Ludwigsdorp? Named after John Ludwig. Where are our people living? Gemiente, Shandubala, Lucifer Street, Donkerhoek. So the exercise that we are doing here, I'm giving you this context so that we can all appreciate and understand that we have a bigger problem. What is it that is expected, even spiritually? What is it that is expected of children that are living in Lucifer Street?
Confused.
What are the children that are living in Sin Street? They do what? They sin. But we are doing this thing ourselves, isn't it? We are doing these things ourselves. So this exercise, I'm just sharing this context for you to understand that the council and councillors and the officials and everybody else are alive to these things. And when we are alive to these things, we need to correct them. These things cannot continue to do that. So Chief Kanime is a very difficult man. So when I was mayor, we found many things there. And a lot of us were excited. We thought we would be able to work together and change things. So the official told us that, okay, so what's happening now? What are the outstanding things? No, this city policing is outstanding. So we wanted now to deal with it. No, the contract is coming to an end. Let's advertise. Then we consulted, we called Inspector General, and we were telling him that, no, in terms of this, we must consult you. And the General Ndetunga did not know about certain powers that he has in terms of the city police regulation. Then he was saying, oh, Amupanda, so we understood each other, and then we started the process now to advertise. So Chief Kanime is very technical. And his lawyer was saying it's also very difficult to, because he wanted to read the commas. And he took us to court. He didn't take us to court because we were necessarily wrong. It's because the police went to advertise. You need to put up those notices. So these positions, you don't advertise. And the situation became very problematic, very difficult, man. So at one point, I was so overwhelmed as a mayor, and I met them with the acting CEO. And I was asking, man, and because they are telling me about their history, this one was here, they recruited each other during that time. Man, you are seniors, can't you just talk to each other? And Chief Kanime was saying, yeah, I can talk to Mayumbelo, but Mayumbelo likes to move like this. Then the end result is that we are here now. We took each other to court, but we are still honoring each other because Chief Kanime is professional. Yeah, he understood that at one point we will fight each other. So the first vote of thanks is to Chief Kanime for being professional, for fighting us. And of course, we also thank you for fighting you, because in the process of fighting you, we also get to learn. But the beautiful thing about, we're not talking about the historic fight. I'm not accounting for the historical fights. Minister, we have nothing to do with those things. We found them. We are only accountable for the things that we did. And in that process, we get to understand that certain things needed to be done as far as city police is concerned. I'm very happy, Chief Kanime, that the results of those fights that we had is that the chief tells me that it is possible, because I remember we were asking you, why do we have to get our uniform from outside Namibia? The chief briefs me now and says that it is possible. They have started the conversation. They've looked at the sample. We might be able to procure the uniform of city police in our country. I'm not mentioning the company. They have just tested the capacity. And that history have resulted us to where we are now. So, Chief, we have also managed to solve historical problems of city police. So I remember one day when I called you about the soup, the situation of the soup. Then I said, but Chief, how can we have soups that are just negotiating for themselves? Then you say, no, I don't want to get involved. Just see what you can do. So that problem of the soup no longer exists. We've managed to deal with the structure properly. We have now 2 divisions, one dealing with operation, and you can see the morale of the staff is also very well. So with those historical issues that you left with us, we have made significant progress with the leadership collective, all of us, in being able to do what we're supposed to do. There are many other things that we could brief you about, but we are making a lot of progress as far as those specific issues are concerned. We have also, one of our strengths, that room that we have in the Honorable Minister, one day if you get a chance to see, that room, no one has it, including our police. We don't understand, Commander, we don't understand what's happening in the commerce or nationally, but the city police actually have the technical capabilities, particularly as far as surveillance and technology is concerned. But the beautiful thing is that they are able to share with each other. So we got additional cameras also. And members of the public, if you think you can just go to some corners and do all these funny things that are happening in our country now, we'll be able to detect actually. We will be even able to detect and zoom in on your license number plate and be able to determine whom that the vehicle belongs to. Those are all efforts that were started originally by Chief Kanime, and we are very happy that we've made those significant progress. CEO, thank you very much. I understand you are a man of God. You now want to justify your failures as that God had a greater plan. This is what these religious guys do. Once they fail to get in the city police, then he said the reason why he didn't succeed is because God had good plans for him to become a CEO. So he's actually trying to convince that had he succeeded in the city police, he would not have been a CEO. But there's no scientific evidence to suggest that. But I do accept that it is possible to be the work of God, because some of us, God is also busy with us. So it might be the possibility. So thank you very much, CEO. Thank you very much, CEO, for that. Our chief, Chief Ileka. Chief Ileka also goes through a lot. And I was thinking whether in thanking him I must say this. Chief Ileka, just at the time when he got in, he was recruited on the 1st of December. And on the 2nd of December, that's when we were sworn in. But he wasn't around because he had a tragedy in his family. So for about a year, having lost his children in an accident like that, but his recruitment was a subject of questions for a period of a year or two even. But he was still dedicated. Now imagine you are the acting chief, you just came from a tragedy, your position is under question. So you don't know what's going to happen to you, but you still continue to lead with that dedication. So thank you very much, Chief, for that bravery. I guess it's because we understand you are from the army. And maybe that's where you got those type of strength. But sometimes during those difficult times that your character is tested, whether you are able to withstand. These things of just, in my language, we call them taramofiriza. It means you have your kids and you just, when they ask anything, you just say, open the fridge. You see the ice cream there. But sometimes these taramofiriza characters produces weak people. But during those difficult times when your character is tested. So thank you very much, Chief, for that leadership, and we're very happy that you are moving in that direction, being able to succeed. Learn from Chief Kanime. Chief Kanime in his bravery. Sometimes us as politicians we can be very difficult. I remember when I was an activist, so one day our activist went in some informal settlement there, and we were dealing with the city police. And Chief Kanime, we used to confront each other. So, and then the activist called me, don't come, the situation is, I wanted to come, but for some reason, because it was an election time, Councillor Kaungu also went there. So the chief went to attend. Then the chief was saying, Councillor Kaungu, I'm warning you. Councillor Kaungu, I'm warning you. And then he ordered the police, officers, arrest her. So now, it was a very difficult thing because the officers know that she's a councillor. I think she was a mayor at the time. You are obstructing my work. But the good thing is that she wasn't arrested. Elder woman wasn't arrested. She's still with us here, wonderful friend of ours. But Chief Kanime stood professionally, even in the pressure of a mayor who was obstructing the work. So there's a lot that you could learn from Chief Kanime, your predecessor, and in making sure that those things are done. Your Worship, I know it has been a very difficult period for everybody here, because we have now entered in this culture of changing mayors every year. But the beautiful thing is that, at least for you, it's an election year. The fights are a bit... Councillor Scriver, who's preparing to be mayor, is busy somewhere in Mariental there. That's why we don't see him here. But if there was no election, he would be here. Say, why am I not on the program? So I think there's always a time for everything. This is what the pastor says. There's a time to cry, and there's time to laugh. There's time to stay at home and the time to vote. There's a time to eat and the time to drink. But I think there will never be a better time to be mayor. The time that you are mayor is also the time. I mean, some of us were mayors during COVID. We never had a platform to have our names there to say, opened by Dr. Amupanda. But you now have an opportunity. The whole time as mayor, I was just wearing a mask. People can't even recognize me during that COVID. So I think rejoice your time as mayor. It was a very wonderful thing to have happened. So councillors, also members of the Heritage Committee and everybody else, of course it wasn't easy, generally. There was always this debate that why are we just renaming things? But we managed to find each other, and we managed to deal with all those problematic things there. And we will be able to tell our children one day, Omes, you say that, no, we changed that thing. It used to be some DVET person that we don't know, but we have managed to do that. So thank you very much for your dedication. It's not just this building. There was a colored man called Bobby Sissing. Am I correct to say there was? He's late. Okay. During that time, football was also segregated between black and white. Bobby Sissing was one of those pioneers in football, making sure that the coloreds and the blacks get to play together in the history that leads up to the formation of the Namibia Football Association. So we are renaming Colonized Stadium in his honor. So the Heritage Committee is very busy with all those things that are basically happening there. So the organizing committee that arranged this activity led by Mr. Eita. Mr. Eita is also from the army. That's why, I mean, he was addressing our event here and he's just addressing minister as commissar. It seems that maybe that's how they used to address each other in exile, because he's also from exile, by the way. Those people who worked hard, they were in exile, struggling, and they come back and they go to school and they get qualification, which is a good thing. So maybe we must retire him together with the commissar. Then we rename building. After them, we come back from retirement. So thank you very much, Tateita and your team. I also want to thank Chief Kanime's uncle. It's a very difficult thing. I have nothing to do with it. it so happened that Chief Kanime's uncle, who was looking for a job at this place, happens to be my father-in-law, but I had nothing to do with it. So I want to thank Tate Ileka and Meme Ileka for being here with Chief Kanime and with us also. And it doesn't actually happen that father-in-laws are thanked by their son-in-law. Lastly, as we go, I don't want to keep you for too long. I see our officers, but most of you are fit. But this side, I'm not seeing things properly. But I also don't want you to keep standing for too long. So I want to thank you and everybody else. But lastly, and most importantly, I want to thank you in advance for what you are going to do on the 27th.
Thank you. Can we give another round of applause to Prof. Amupanda? Yeah, Councillor Prof, thank you for the vote of thanks. Because as the mover of the motion to rename the building in the honor of Chief Abraham Kotekeni Kanime, and at the same time also as the chairperson of the Heritage Committee, it was really befitting to move the vote of thanks at this historic occasion. Now, my take home from Prof's vote of thanks is, I think he said, the longer you serve, you may qualify for getting a name, yeah? Getting one or another place named after you. So that was my take home. Thank you, Prof. I'm looking forward to that. Your Worship, Queen Nombagano Kamadi, Mayor of the City of Windhoek, Honorable Franz Kapofi, Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs, Prof, Councillor Job Amupanda, Chairperson of the Council Heritage Committee, Chief Retired Abraham Kotekeni Kanime, the owner of our house now, Mr. Moses Machai, Chief Executive Officer of the City of Windhoek, and Chief Liefi Shivolo Ileka, Head of City Police Service. Please allow me to stand on the protocol as was already established.
National salute, present arms. Right, stand still. The Worship Councillor, Queen Omagano Kamati, the Mayor of City of Windhoek, good afternoon. Parade Commander, Superintendent Kriana Shehama is now asking for permission to march off the parade. Madam. Thank you, Madam. Right, Eris. Right, in route columns. By platoons. Parade will march off in routes and ceremonial steps. Distance between platoons 5 meters. Color party leadings. Whole parade standings. Right then. Right, by road steps, forward, march. Right, left, by plateau. By platoon. Right! Ceremony test by platoon. Right! Eyes right by platoons. Right! Eyes front by platoons. They are not coming. They are not coming. Let's reduce. Right. Well. Oh. Go. Oh.
Thank you very much. We are now moving closer to the officiating the renaming. I invite the main table to accompany the mayor, as well as honorable councillors and chiefs of service to accompany the mayor, to the general officers to accompany the mayor to the unveiling of the plaque. I as well invite members of the media. Your worship, this event is live streamed. Chief Kadime, our friends are following wherever we have friends. I know Abbotsford is following. Honorable Minister, we are now going to officiate the renaming of the building. The family of Tatekanime, please, Madam, and the family, please accompany the mayor, Chief Kanime, as we officiate the renaming of this building. After the officiation, the mayor is inviting you for lunch in the function hall and tour to the dispatch command center. The technology that Chief Ileka was announcing here, you are going to witness it in action. And literally, we have come to the end of this program. From here, we will just go to the command center.
From the directors, I just want to extend our heartfelt thanks and appreciation for being here and sharing this historic moment with us. Thank you. Until next time, goodbye.
So some of us, where do